Best.Podcast.Ever. Boy.
Oh, you're in the hot seat, baby. You're going to see me checking this every few minutes because I'm not very smart. And earlier we had a whole podcast and it wasn't recording. So that's not me being rude. That's me making sure that we're all still working. We're very low tech here, as you can tell.
You're so rude, Alex. That's what I would have thought.
I know.
Would have started being rude.
Molly, do you want to do your selfie now, or do you want to do your selfie later?
Yeah.
Molly's got a selfie addiction.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Okay.
and how come you never bring your selfie stick?
I should. That'll be next
Yeah.
time.
All right.
All right. And I have a face too, so.
Lovely. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, we are rolling.
Very professional. We have our own Facebook
guys got your-
page.
We do. We're serious business.
Yeah.
All right, let me get this thing going.
We have Nellie. Nellie's our.
We got a website now too.
Yes, I saw
Right?
that, but I haven't.
What do you mean? What?
I haven't
the
posted
individual
anything.
One for the podcast? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah, Best Podcast Ever. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
I
Have
feel
you-
like I saw a link to it, or no?
Yeah.
Was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a link to it.
We have our probably
There's
the
like 4
Facebook
on there,
page.
5 on there already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you listened to any of our podcasts?
Nope.
She admitted
That's-
she
no.
hasn't already.
Ooh,
That's why. No, I haven't. Sorry, Alex.
lovely. No, that's all right. All right. Well, we've been rolling for a minute and a half. We should start this podcast.
Yes.
Hi, Molly Gebler.
Hi, Alex Kurtzberg.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Happy Monday.
You too.
Yes, should we clink?
Cheers.
Wait.
Cheers. Oh, lovely. Hi, Nadine Ezzie.
Hello,
Nadine.
Alex Gersberg and Molly
Oh
Gebler.
my God, this is so exciting. This is a long-awaited podcast, awaited by me. I've been long awaiting this podcast. Yeah.
It's here. It's here. It's now.
So our guest today is the esteemed Nadine Ezzie.
Yes.
Steamed.
Oh,
Yeah.
see,
Wow.
you should have paused a little for drum roll.
You
We
know?
had a drum roll for the first time in our last podcast.
Why didn't I get a drum roll?
Well, hopefully she'll
you might
insert it
yet,
somewhere.
Nadine.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The trumpet sound.
If you had a personal theme song,
Yeah.
right, for like when you walked in the door, have you ever given that thought?
No.
Mine would be Eye of the Tiger.
Mm,
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
yeah.
Yeah. I
I've
mean, 'cause, I mean, it sets
so
the tone
many.
for the
Right.
whole
Yeah.
whatever you're walking into.
Yeah. Alternatively, I would also go for the theme song from The Lion King.
Which one? Wait.
You know the
That's the way you
yeah, that one.
Mm.
Yeah.
When they like present Simba,
Okay.
baby Simba.
Yes.
Okay, I can't wait to be
Yes.
king. I just can't
No,
wait.
no, that's a
no,
different.
no, no,
That's
no,
later
no.
in the
It's like
play.
very
Okay.
African, very
Yes,
musical,
no, I got it. I
really
just
Alex
don't
Jones.
know the words of that. Just
You
the
know what?
music in general.
Kind
Himself
of
as the African king.
how I sometimes imagine it would go is like one of the scenes from what's that Eddie Murphy movie?
Coming to America.
Yeah. But like at the beginning, right, when they're like panning around and there's
Yes.
like parrots flying past them and leopards and stuff.
I haven't seen
But
that
it would
in a
be
long
the
time.
Lion King theme song. Anywho, let's talk about Nadine Ezzie.
Let's do it.
Nadine Ezzie is and was and has been for a very long time an attorney at law in the state of Ohio.
Mhm.
And previous to her current employment as general counsel for a company called Weston.
Which I know what that means now.
Yeah, general counsel.
In-house. Oh,
That's
wait,
right.
is that different
No,
than
she,
in-house?
yeah, she's in-house.
Okay.
She was in-house at a little known company called Broadvox, where she and I worked together how many years?
5, I think.
5 years.
Mhm.
And man, it seems like ages ago,
Mhm.
but it really was just almost like yesterday.
Yes.
And while we were at Broadvox, you know what Nadine did?
Oh, there are so many things right now that are
Possibilities.
coming to
Yeah.
my head, like dancing on the
Yeah.
tables and...
No.
Oddly enough, never did that.
Did I not?
No.
No?
Never danced on the table.
Nadine, one of the coolest things about Nadine Ezzie is that while we were at Broadvox, Nadine started a women's leadership forum.
Oh.
There. which was really cool, and invited all the ladies there
Yeah.
together. And it was an empowering thing. Yes?
It was.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Oh, that's
Was,
awesome.
yeah.
From scratch, like it
Yes.
had not,
From scratch.
I mean, it had not been done there and you
Safe to
kinda
say it had not been done in
No,
Broadbox.
nor
It was-
would it ever have been,
No.
but for you doing it.
And once you left it sizzle.
You know what? It was one of those things that had it was a good run while it lasted, and then just due to logistics and my schedule and whatnot, and the company kind of changing as well and structuring, it kind of died down a little bit. But no, it was good. It was inspired after I read Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In. I don't know if you've read it or familiar.
No, but geez, always seems to be
Molly doesn't read
I don't
books.
read.
You know what?
I feel like maybe this podcast is leading me to read.
I've been in my goal for 2017 is to read more books.
Lean
So I'm with you.
on.
Lean in.
Lean in
Lean
or on.
in.
Yeah. Lean On is a different book altogether.
Don't
Yeah.
Google that.
It's a different
listeners.
genre.
Do not Google Lean In.
Yes. So it was it was good. It was great.
Oh.
One of the most driven people I know, Nadine Ezzie. Honestly,
Thanks, Alex.
that's a true statement. That is not an exaggeration. And I know a lot of driven people. Nadine is one of the most. True story.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah. So that's why I've been looking forward to having Nadine on as this as our next guest.
Well, I'm glad that
Or today's
Nadine clicked on the our link and
Yeah.
signed up.
Yeah.
I may not have if I had known I was being interviewed.
It's true.
So how do you get your so we each have a list and then we emailed our people and asked them to be a guest. Every guest that's come on that has been yours doesn't seem to really know what exactly is going on in this.
I like to keep them in the dark.
How exactly are you getting these people to sign up?
I don't know. Well, in fairness, this is Nadine's second
Yes.
podcast.
Okay, so she was part of the what was that other one called?
The 5 o'clock Scotch time, or what did we call that? I don't know.
Yes, something like that.
But it wasn't nearly as cool as this.
No. And Nellie, if you're listening, now's the time for a drum roll.
Pause for the drum roll.
Because we have our first female guest here today.
This is a big deal.
Oh, yes.
And
I'm
a little
so honored.
sound
That's a
effect
big
of
deal.
applause right
I'm
now.
so honored.
So
I'm
welcome,
honored. Thank
female
you.
guests.
I'm very honored.
Yes.
Thank you both
Thank you
for having
for
me here today.
breaking that wall, that glass
the
ceiling.
glass ceiling of the best podcast ever.
Yes.
And busted through that glass
yes.
ceiling.
Yeah.
So your in-house counsel, which is a word I learned at the other podcast.
Yes.
At Weston.
Yes.
When I hear Weston, I think of cooking oil.
Really?
I think of
I would
hotels.
say a lot of people think of the
Okay.
hotel chain.
So since we're both wrong, what is it?
Weston is a fantastic, locally owned, family-owned commercial real estate company. Yes, founded in 1972. Started off acquiring large industrial buildings all over Cleveland. Basically the forgotten buildings that people just kind of drove by, didn't think twice of, but the fabulous owners of Weston had a different vision and started buying up these large industrial buildings and leasing them out to commercial tenants, industrial tenants, manufacturing companies, folks that needed warehouse space, and for long term, and started off with industrial buildings, and now it's an extraordinarily exciting time at Weston because we are transitioning into many other facets of real estate. We are converting the standard building in downtown Cleveland to luxury apartments.
That's a big deal right there.
Very exciting.
That was a significant piece of Cleveland transactional
Yes.
history right there.
Yes, acquired such a historic, beautiful building in downtown Cleveland, which housed really nothing but attorneys, I think, for the longest of times, and are now turning it into luxury apartments.
And do they have the passion of Cleveland and the history and the tradition and maintain that in their? Not that I'm for or against
would be a gross
either way.
understatement.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
They dig
yes.
on Cleveland, is what you're saying, Nadine?
Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. They dig on Cleveland. Cleveland born and raised. Love
Okay.
Cleveland.
And they like to keep it.
Nothing but a passion and drive to give back to the city of Cleveland. So yes.
Good
Very
people
cool.
working over there too.
Very good
Yeah.
people.
And
Yeah, we
where
like
is
those
is
people.
it in Cleveland?
Yeah, Warrensville Heights.
Okay.
Yes, Warrensville Heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And how long?
Almost 2 years. How long I've been there?
Yeah.
Almost 2 years.
Okay.
Feels like a lot longer.
Yeah. You like working there, Nadine, Ezzie?
I love working there.
It's a good company.
Yeah, great company, great people. I'm very lucky. I feel like I've never worked anywhere with bad people. You ever think of, well, I mean, generally speaking, I'm very lucky. Yeah, I've always just been blessed with really great, hardworking, awesome people. And again, I have the same fortunate circumstances.
I love that you appreciate that. I love that is a appreciation in your life.
We have to go in you spend, the majority of your waking hours with your working colleagues. So, to work with really good human beings just is kind of an icing on the cake.
Yeah. And you play like a really significant role there, right? You're the head legal counsel for a company that is constantly doing deals, right? Mm-hmm. Constantly interacting with tenants on legal issues, among others, business issues, legal issues, and that's a pretty big responsibility, Nadine, Ezzie, for yourself, wouldn't you say?
I would say, Alex Gertzberg. I would, There's a lot going on. There's a lot no 2 days are alike. A lot of different interactions with different type of relationships. You alluded to tenants.
Yeah.
You can ask me a question, or do you want me to stop?
I don't know.
You had a thought.
Either way.
I know that look.
No, that was gas.
No? Oh, okay.
No, here, listen.
Sound effect, Nelly.
I know the people at Weston. They're all good people. They have a very good sense of community and a good sense of humor, and they work well together. And I like them all. But one thing that I know about you is that you go, because I know from the Broadvox days, and I assume this is true over there too, is you bring a certain amount of positive attitude with you. You think that's a true statement?
It is.
Yeah.
It's challenging some days more than others, as I would imagine is in any role.
Yeah. Unless you're Molly, and then it comes easily.
Really?
You just bring jovialness with you everywhere.
However,
all the time. You're a jovial person, Molly.
There's nothing to be not about.
Well, I agree with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's the other alternative? Who wants to
Just
live
to
like
be
that?
It's
persnickety.
a good outlook.
No time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I try, Alex. Some days are harder than others, but I work with such great people that they remind me. They're like, "Hey, you're not being Nadine like today. What's up?" Which is
that true?
Yes, but it's meant as that's what I need. It's the kick in the pants I need. Like, gosh darn it, Nadine. Yeah.
How many people are employed there?
Not a lot, which is what I love. We're just shy of 40 folks.
Okay, great.
We are lean, we are small and mighty, which I love. We fly under the radar. Not a lot of folks are familiar with the name of Weston, though if you drive through downtown Cleveland now past the Standard Building,
Lots of signage.
You will see the sign and you will see the name. But that's what I love about it. We fly just on the radar.
Not anymore.
Don't need a lot of notoriety.
Now that you're on this podcast.
I know.
Look at your phone's blowing up already.
I know already. Look, the phone is ringing.
Right. We haven't even uploaded.
I know the
we
callers
haven't
are coming in.
uploaded it yet.
Small
they
but
just
mighty.
know you're in the. That's awesome.
Yeah, doing amazing things with not a lot of people, which again is just amazing.
There's a passion coming out of this voice.
Yeah, Nadine, I want to hear some personal highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Can you tell me your last name? What the origin of that is?
Speaking of personal highlights.
I'm Lebanese, 100% first generation. My parents were both born in Lebanon. My father immigrated here in the early 60s, and my mother came here in the late 70s. And yes, 100% Lebanese.
Knew each other before they came? Like, did your mom know your dad, or did they?
Yeah, she came here to marry my father. Yeah, he would travel back every summer to visit family. Met my beautiful mother one year, started courting her, writing letters, and then asked her to marry him, and she came over. The rest
That was
is
the
history.
personal part. You can go for the second half of your question.
No, that was important. What I want to hear about, like, personal, professional highlights.
Personal, professional highlights. So, I don't know why, but I always knew I wanted to be an in-house counsel. I was bit by the business bug a long time ago. Unlike our dear friend Alex Gertzberg, I knew I was not a litigator. I knew I didn't have the litigation passion or fire in me. But for whatever it was, deals. Like, you put a deal in front of me, a transaction, and I would imagine how you feel prepping for trial, Alex, is how I feel when somebody sends me a closing checklist, which is, what you do to kind of close a deal. So, law firms have their place in the world. They weren't for me. I didn't want to spend, no offense again, Alex.
None taken.
This is going to come back to you positively, I promise.
This law firm is not like any other law
It's
firm.
not.
So I'm cool
It's
with you
not.
bashing law firms in general.
So, I wasn't a fan of the focus being on the billable hours and having to write down everything. And, I wanted to focus on the clients. I wanted to focus on the work that I was doing, and I knew going in-house would give me that opportunity.
Yeah.
You remove the layers of bureaucracy of a law firm, and you can focus on the client and the work. And so I always wanted to go in-house, and it's not easy sometimes. So my early years of being a lawyer kind of kept my eyes and ears open and would apply to various jobs. And one day I saw a posting for a junior in-house attorney at a local telecommunications company. Didn't know much about it, but thought I would apply.
You know what happened at that interview?
Were you in it?
I was.
Yes.
I was the interviewer.
That was Alex Gertzman.
Yeah, and Nate and I had interviewed 20 people, right? And Nadine came in and said the following sentence: "Some days, I just like more than anything going to a Starbucks with a contract and just reading it all day long." And I was like, that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard anyone say, but you're hired.
Like, you loser.
Yeah, yeah.
He was like, I'm gonna smile, but I'm kind of frightened by
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
smile.
Yeah, but I thought that there's no way
Batshit
anyone.
crazy.
Yeah, but it turned out to be true. You really enjoy reading contracts.
I do.
That is insane.
Yeah, I do. I love drafting
No.
them and reading them.
Yeah.
So I'd say professional highlight number one was being hired by Alex Gertzman.
Oh, stop
No, as corporate counsel to Broadbox, because that was, they got me the foot in the door. That was my first in-house gig, and man, what a ride that was.
That was a good time.
That was a good time.
Yeah. There's a lot of ups and
So do
downs.
you need to change, because when you're in-house counsel, the business changes, like, you're real estate now.
Mm-hmm.
Broadbox was not real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And nor was Broadvox,
Or that
which
one
was
either.
telecom.
Maybe Broadbox was.
Broadbox is definitely a real estate
So-
company. Like
oh,
they do
Broadbox,
box
right,
stores.
boxes,
Yeah,
those
little
box.
bakery.
Yes.
I think they were. I
But
think they're out of business.
so you need to change
Yes.
that, or you can find one of a business that you're passionate about. But you probably, in this real estate, you probably needed to learn a whole nother, different than what you
Yeah.
were already.
What I already had real estate
Especially real
experience, but I
estate.
never was solely in 100% focused on real estate. But I've had real estate experience in the past, and that's the beauty of being in-house. It's dynamic, it's ever changing, and if
Yeah.
you've maybe dabbled something in a little bit in the past, but you have the passion to do it, it's it's doable.
Well, and there was real estate done at Broadbox.
Right,
Right.
yeah, absolutely. We owned the building we were in.
Well, and then with Cypress, there was a lot of real estate lease negotiations
A
and
lot,
licenses.
yes, yeah.
So you had you acquired a pretty good.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, it wasn't a completely.
It wasn't a 180.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, and
But
I
it
mean,
could be. I mean,
If it
if
was,
you're
I would
in-house.
question the judgment of the owners of Weston to hire somebody with no real estate experience.
Good point. Good
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Interesting.
it was really funny actually. So fast forward like 4 or 5 years, right?
Mhm.
And your boss Jamie Asher came over to my law firm, right?
Love this
And
story.
it was like and we sat down and we poured each other some scotch, and we had those rocking chairs. This was at our other place, and we made some small talk, and then I could tell that he wanted to talk. And you had done some work. Nadine had done some work for Weston at that point a number of
I'm
times.
still working for Alex at this point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And so and I could tell he had something he wanted to ask me, right? And he goes, "Listen, Alex, I don't know what the right way to go about this is, and I don't want to mess up what you got going on over here, but what do you think about us hiring Nadine away from you?" Right? And it was like that scene in Fiddler on the Roof. Do you ever see that movie, Fiddler on the Roof?
I have
Right?
seen the play.
Yeah, where like the dad is like asking the other dad for permission to marry his
Yes.
daughter, but they're both like really old, and they were both like really uncomfortable. That's what it was like.
Okay.
And we were both like, we just want what's best for Nadine. we just want Nadine to be happy.
Was that true for you though?
Yes,
that you were
it
gonna
was.
lose her?
I was. I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, we all just wanted our little Nadine to be happy.
I'll tell you a little bit about that story too. I knew that Jamie was going over to have that conversation with you and was apprehensive, to put it politely.
Yeah.
But this guy calls me and leaves me a voicemail, and I see the phone ring, and I was like, I can't answer it. Not right now. And leaves the most jubilant, genuinely excited message on my voicemail. So to answer your question, yeah was just so excited for me.
Because I got the, and Alex's kids are really in for a rude awakening when they grow up, because I got the "I'm disappointed in you" voice from Alex
It's the
other
worst.
day.
It's the worst.
So
Oh no!
bad.
It's
Is that
awful.
when you didn't shoot?
Oh, I was on the receiving.
It was
I had it a
totally
couple
my
times.
fault, but it was the
It's awful.
total
right?
disappointment, and
I
I literally hung with the phone and thought, oh, his kids are
It
really
makes me want to like
gonna-
retreat into the mountains for
Yes,
3 days
yes,
and reassess
yes, that's what I
myself
felt
as a
like.
human being.
Yeah.
I was more quiet than anything else, right? I didn't
And
really
that
even.
played into it a little bit as
Oh,
well.
you're lucky.
Yeah. No, I got the voice. I
Okay.
for sure.
Well,
got
all
the
right.
voice.
Let's not let the kids listening at home
I was
wonder
trying
what
to
we're
say
talking
something.
I
about.
Molly's
missed it.
on
No,
I
here's what
missed
happened.
an appointment.
Here's what happened. But
Yes.
it actually turned out great.
Alice got to be the star in it.
No,
And
no,
he
no,
knows
no, no.
if I would have showed up, I would have ended up being the star. So it
So
turned
actually,
out
he
it
owes
was
you
perfect
an,
for him.
he
Yes,
owes you.
yes.
Is what I'm
Damn
hearing,
straight.
Molly.
Oh,
He does owe me. He owes me a dinner
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
hasn't paid yet.
I do
Yes.
still owe you a dinner.
Yes.
So what happened, Nadine Ezzie, was we were supposed to shoot a video for our essay contest at Kenston High School, and I got there early, in fact, and
I didn't get there at all.
didn't get there at all. And then the AV guy, the teacher, kept coming out and said, "Is Molly here yet?" No, she'll be here any second. And then eventually,
No, Molly was dealing with cars.
yeah. But so then we had this phone call, which I didn't think I was making you feel guilty at all.
I'm sure you weren't trying
No,
to.
not
I'm
at
sure you
all.
were
I was
rushed
trying to
and
be understanding.
oh crap, what am I going to tell them? And I'm sure that it was the whole minute,
Molly,
I
Molly's
felt it.
going with the my car got jacked up
Yeah,
story.
Everyone's welcome to call Junction Auto. Talk to
Whatever.
Mike.
It's
He's
not
the one that
important,
handled
I
the
think it's
car.
weird when you have to make those
Yeah,
calls,
verification.
like verification calls.
Yeah,
It gets
yeah.
weird, Molly.
But to close the loop on that, these kids at
horrible.
Kenston High School, right?
Yes.
They arranged this was supposed to be us talking about the essay contest, right, and answering questions about to the judges and the sponsors and the students, and these kids had the brilliance to set up the set like a Between Two Ferns set, right? You watch the Between Two Ferns,
yes.
right? And these two high school students interviewed me as though they were Zach Galifianakis, and it was freaking hysterical, or at least I thought so. You guys will figure
We'll
it out.
see. We'll see.
It was really funny. Would have been much funnier if you were there, Molly.
Aw.
Anywho, let's get back
Yes.
to Nadine Ezzie.
Okay.
Other
Just what's
professional
the last
highlights.
name? Let's just call her Ezzie.
I
I've
don't
got
know.
a lot of nicknames.
Nezzie's popular.
Nezzie's a big one,
Nezzie.
or
Yeah.
Nez for short.
Okay.
Do you know why Nezzie's popular? Because that's
Can we
every
s-
email address that
Every
she's
email
got,
or
and
the-
everyone
no, it's
mispronounces
Nezzie.
it.
Okay.
Oh no, see, so Alex used to take a big, he's thinking of who, when people, so when you get an email and sometimes based on how it's set up, it'll say Gebler, Molly, right, like from.
Right.
So we've dealt with some very intelligent human beings in the past that couldn't differentiate between my first and last name, so they would say, good evening, Ezzie, or
Nez. I hear
Nezzie,
Nezzie a lot.
or just
yeah.
Nezzie.
Yeah.
And Alex used to get the biggest kick out of that people couldn't
Do it.
figure out Outlook. Yeah. couldn't do
Uh-huh.
it.
Oh, it's complicated.
It's very complicated.
So Nezzie, other professional highlights?
Other professional highlights. Alex, when you decided to open this law firm
Yeah.
and physically opened your office here,
Yeah.
and I stayed, downtown at Broadbox, that I don't want to say it was another highlight, but it gave me I kind of gave me the ability. It was more so managerial experience at that time.
For sure.
You trusted me with our staff to be there day to day,
Right.
From an operational standpoint, to make sure things were running smoothly while you were doing your thing here. And
So your highlight was when Alex left the company.
Yes.
yeah, I know that sounded.
No, it makes perfect sense to me.
When
But it
Alex
allowed you
trusted
to
me
spread
enough
your
to
wings.
stay
Yeah.
back and hold down the fort while he was doing his awesome thing here. Again, it just kind of forced me to grow a little bit more.
Yeah. And it did, and you did.
Yeah.
Right?
And I had to deal with, certain
Personalities.
Personalities,
Yeah.
and Alex wasn't there to shield me anymore. So
Colorful personalities?
certain colorful
Nadine,
Russian personalities.
Nadine knows some, we won't get into it because this is a family show, but Nadine knows some really good Russian swear words.
And I passed them on to other folks.
Yeah.
It's the gift that keeps on giving, Alex.
We should exchange Russian for Lebanese swear words one of these days.
That's some good ones.
That's a different
Arabic.
podcast.
Yes.
Nadine, do you ever feel totally overwhelmed?
Yes.
What do you do about that?
Sometimes I get caught up in the web, right? And you start to go and kind of go down that spiral, and I gotta walk away and keep it simple. Just walk away.
What does that mean, walk away? Like physically
Literally,
walk out
I'm
of the
in my
office?
office,
Yeah.
right? I could just walk outside and just take a couple deep breaths and just kind of get back to center and just remind myself you always get through everything. There's nothing you've never been able to not get through.
Yeah.
Just slow down, take one at a time, and just get back in there.
Baby steps. That's what I tell
And
my
delegation.
girls.
I can't stress enough in this role how I've come to appreciate delegation and how crucial it is if you want to be successful in whatever it is you do.
Yeah. That's a huge challenge. Delegating, the delegating things that shouldn't be eliminated is a big challenge, right? Because sometimes you just, I find that.
You're very good at delegating, I think.
No, I could be way better. I think that what a lot of people struggle with is that they believe that either I'm going to do it or someone else is going to do it. But there is an innumerable range of other possibilities. Like one is just crossing it off the list, which I used to have a big problem with, right? Like I would just keep deprioritizing it, but it would still be on the list. So that's not a good habit. Sometimes you just got to eliminate completely. I listened to this one podcast, James Altucher. That's it, Altucher. If you ever have an opportunity to listen to this cat's podcast, it's awesome. So he does this thing. He interviews entrepreneurs and leaders, and he went through this exercise where he took all of his goals and all of his projects that he was working on, and just picked the top 5 and threw all the other ones out, right? Just like crossed them all off and said, I'm not going to think about any of these until I do these 5, right? And then started paring down all the other things in his life, right? Like just threw away most of the stuff in his house, just decluttered his entire life.
Simplification.
Yeah. I definitely need to do that, but B, that's a major delegation, I think, issue for people, is that they delegate stuff that they just need to cross off the list, Molly, do you ever feel overwhelmed? You don't seem like you do.
I don't. I mean, I'm in the philosophy of baby steps. I get it done, and if I need to work extra hard to do it, I don't know. I'm a pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that because you have a really well-defined I don't give a shit muscle?
No, I'm completely the opposite.
Oh, really?
I give a shit about everything.
Oh, man.
Everybody, everyone's feelings.
And yet you don't feel overwhelmed?
No.
Huh.
No.
Interesting.
What would overwhelm be? I mean,
stressed out. I know.
No, I definitely don't get stressed out. No, I won't take anything else. I know when to not.
Right.
I know what's on my plate, and I know, I this is what I got to do right now. That's not what I can do right now. So.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll be late at the office, working late because I have to get things done. But I
can't say I've ever seen you stressed out.
I wouldn't.
I've seen you, Nadine, stressed out. You've seen me stressed out. We get stressed out. We need to figure out what Molly's secret is.
Found that also helped the beauty of the word no.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
I don't know that word, unfortunately.
You don't?
I mean,
You don't need it, though.
I know when to not include it, but no is.
One thing I
would love to.
despise in our day and age is the glorification of busy.
Yeah.
Everybody loves
Yes.
to talk
And
about how
less-
busy
yes,
they are, right?
yes,
And that somehow,
yes.
if you're not good at what you're doing,
Right.
or you're
My
not contributing
yes.
something valuable.
Yeah.
And I feel that life is too short, and
Yeah.
so it's something that I work towards is
Right.
the deglorification of busy.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no.
Right.
Our time is valuable.
And it's okay to. My favorite is when I say, "Oh, did you watch that show?" "Oh, I don't have time to watch TV." "Really? Really?"
Yeah, you do. It's a choice.
Or
Right.
or read a book, or
Right.
really, I think you
Yeah.
probably do. I mean, like, oh, okay, you're so much busier than me. You can't watch.
Of course.
You know,
Right.
like
Well,
I can't.
yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
And even now, it's when I call, let's say I call a restaurant and we want to get some food for a party.
Mhm.
I have to hear it from them.
Right.
Like, I'm ordering
You're
from
in the
you.
business of serving.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't email you back. We're just swamped over here.
Yeah.
We're super.
Well, you're
Okay,
too
so am
swamped to take my
I.
order then, is what I-
I mean,
yeah.
it's like, seriously.
Yeah. Well, and you could take it a step further. I heard somebody say the other day that when somebody tells you they're too busy to do something, I interpret that to mean that they don't have their priorities straight.
Right.
Like
Or
the-
you're not part of that.
Yeah,
Or they don't
exactly.
care enough
Yeah.
to accept whatever
Exactly,
you're offering.
exactly.
It's a number of things,
Right.
any of which are not positive.
Yeah.
No.
The better approach is I'm just busy enough to where I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing at every moment of the day. Right. If you can get to that point, that'd be a good point to get to.
At the end of the day, I sit on my chair and I watch a Hallmark show.
You do?
movie. Oh yes.
Really?
Obsessed with
That doesn't
Hallmark.
make you depressed. Those Hallmark and Lifetime
I
shows
love
are,
them all.
Oh, my
It puts happiness
I'm
and
on
candy
a
canes
solid
in my heart.
20-year ban of the Lifetime channel.
20 years.
A band?
Wow.
Ban. I won't.
Because
true?
you
I
binge
was
too
no.
much?
I remember the specific moment. Right, Lifetime can show some very graphic, disturbing movies. I think it was 15 years old and watched some very
Let me guess the
after-schoolish-
topic. Domestic violence or some other type of rape,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was so
Yeah.
horrifically graphic.
Unnecessary.
Oh.
It was so unnecessary that
Yeah.
I will never watch the Lifetime. I'm so mad,
Oh.
and I have yet to watch the Lifetime channels. I was 15. It was
20-year ban.
20 years. 20-year
Wow.
anniversary.
Wow, that's a
That's
stiff
why I don't have
punishment.
a target.
Do you want a refill of your scotch?
No,
You sure?
it was just the right amount. Thank you.
You've been to Paris, Italy, and Lebanon.
I have
Tell us about that.
What was your favorite?
Work, pleasure?
all pleasure. Well, I have family in Lebanon,
Yes.
so it's to visit family, which is awesome. Always to go back to the roots. My favorite is Paris. Paris is my favorite city. I can't say on earth because I've been to every city on earth, but I just love it.
Of the ones you've been to, that's
Of
your
the
favorite.
ones I've been to.
What do you love the
Paris.
most?
Oh, Italy was pretty amazing too. I gained a solid 7 pounds in 1 week. I was proud of it.
Wow.
Proud of every single pound.
And if you'll see the picture, she could use a lot more than 7 pounds on her body. But Paris, what was your favorite? Why does it make it your favorite?
You know, I'll be candid. The second time I traveled to Paris, kind of a funky time in life, and I went, and it was this gorgeous reminder of just enjoying the simple things in life, which sounds so silly to say
No, it
simple
doesn't.
Paris, but just to walk around and eat baguettes and cheese and drink rosé at noon and stroll through
By yourself?
by myself. I have family there who I stayed with, but as they were at work in the daytime, I would just wander the city on my own and stroll through museums
That is somewhere
and
that
sit at cafes and Paris truly forces you to slow down and appreciate.
That's because their service sucks everywhere.
I don't.
And
It's
you don't have a
not-
choice.
No, I love Paris. People rag on it. I think the people are awesome. I had nothing but wonderful experiences with the French people.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
After I was in Iraq, I went to Germany, and when I was in Germany, I did this road trip through Luxembourg and Amsterdam and all different parts of Germany. to a man, in every taxi driver I met over there hated the French, thought they all sucked. And I think I've never met any Frenchmen or women in France, but apparently the reputation in at least among the cab driver community is not good, right? Outside of France.
Are there any cab drivers that are happy though? I mean,
I would just like to
Ooh,
say, my
that's a good
uncle
point.
was a cab driver in Paris.
Was he happy?
In Paris.
In Paris.
Right.
You're talking about the Germans?
I'm talking about the European cab drivers outside of France do not like French tourists.
Ah, the tourists, I
Yeah,
see.
they think that they're all rude.
They probably are.
Now, I can't speak for it from a personal experience, but that's the reputation they have. Now, I'm sure they're all very nice people. And if any of them are listening to this podcast,
Yeah, send your
Well played,
emails
Alex.
to
I'm sure
Best.Podcast.Ever,
you're all very nice
dude.
people.
Well
at
played.
gmail.com for any complaints. All right, so let's talk about, you and I have a favorite singer that we have in common. I don't have a lot in common musically with our guests lately because they're over on Alex's side and it's all fish.
Fish, yeah.
So you and I love Neil Diamond.
I love Neil Diamond. I love that
Love.
guy.
So
He's awesome.
I'm not
I
ashamed to say
me neither. I
Musical
just
genius.
booked
Do you tickets?
the Diamond Project,
Ooh.
which is a tribute band. They come every summer to the concerts in the park here, and I am telling you, you will not know that it is not Neil Diamond.
I believe it.
Close your eyes.
I believe it.
But they also play at Blossom, this Diamond Project, and Neil Diamond is coming during Blossom, or during Memorial Day. He's coming on the 30th of May.
Is that what he's
So
calling?
we are going to do everything in our power to get him here to enjoy his tribute band.
You know what's awesome about Neil Diamond is, other than everything, if you're Molly Gebler and Nadine
The
Ezzie,
jazz singer? That's most awesome.
that's a
about it.
good
It's the
movie.
best movie.
That if you are a Jew in America is required. You have to watch that and
such
Fiddler
a
on the
good
Roof
movie.
and Yenta.
And what was his girlfriend's name?
I don't know. What was it? Molly?
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, the girlfriend that you met in California. Her name was Molly.
Was she a shiksa?
I don't know, but the grandpa ripped his clothes. His
Then
dad
she
ripped
was.
his clothes.
Oh, because he was dating outside the faith?
Well, he was married.
'Cause he married outside
He was
the faith?
married at the
I
time.
didn't see it.
You never saw the jazz singer and you're a Neil
Nope.
Diamond fan?
I know. Whoa!
Wow.
I think we're seeing her overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Molly just had a stroke.
Now
I
I'm
think we're seeing
stressed.
Molly overwhelmed.
Oh my
Show me your
gosh.
eyes got. It was
Here's
amazing.
the deal.
Do you need
And
an
I did
IV
it.
As soon
drip?
as
I did
Holly
it.
Hall leaves Township Hall,
Yeah, we're gonna have a screening
we are having a screening.
just for Nadine Ezzie.
Yes. I will
Wow.
bring my
I
popcorn
feel
machine.
so honored.
And we are showing the jazz singer, followed
Doing a
by
private viewing, just me
Yes.
sitting there with my popcorn.
followed by The Way We Were.
No, that sounds like some sappy.
The Way We Were, Barbara
Right.
Streisand. You haven't seen The Way We Were either?
Robert Streisand or Robert Redford and Barbara Streisand?
Yes,
Oh.
yeah. Oh my God.
You guys crack me up.
Poor thing.
All right, lightning round, Nadine Ezzie. Well, I feel like we've already asked what your biggest accomplishments
Although I
were.
want to, she
Oh,
officiated
jeez.
a wedding. That's exciting.
All right.
Yeah. So can all lawyers officiate a wedding?
I withdraw my lightning round announcement.
Yes.
Molly
the
wasn't
whole-
done asking her
Apparently she's
questions.
just so intrigued with
Yes.
I know,
that.
and she
Damn
should be. You're an
straight.
intriguing
There's two
cat.
more I
I had the
want to. There's
honor
two
of
more I want to touch
officiating
on.
In the future, by the way, we should have a hand signal.
Yes.
Or like a
Yes.
conch that you could pass by.
Yeah.
Or
So they,
what.
so
Like-
Nellie knows
And I
when
want,
to
I
do
think the
our.
lightning round should be announced by the blowing of the like Survivor.
Well,
like,
we're actually
Yeah, there's-
looking for
there's jingles.
that noise.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about.
They wanted to do a gun and it just didn't. Like a
no,
machine
I like.
gun.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You
Nellie,
know,
do you
laying
hear
down.
that?
That's what I think.
Like
yeah.
a
Nellie.
In our
like a
notes.
ram's
Happened for your
horn
girl.
of some sort.
Yeah.
Trust me, in
Interesting.
our notes, I can
Yes.
hear it now. Nellie's comments is all my notes have been positive thus far, but my notes for this one is going to say, "Stop talking to me in the pod." Like, stop saying Nellie.
Nellie.
Yeah.
What we got to do is get Nellie on as a guest
Yeah,
and get it all
she's
out
so
of our system.
important.
She is
She's
very
so
important.
Okay, so you officiated a wedding. Whose wedding? Did you know them?
Oh, absolutely.
Did you go online and get?
No, it was my dearest friend Tracy. We've known her since kindergarten.
Okay.
It was her and her husband's wedding, and no, there's this little known tidbit about being an attorney. You can, in certain municipalities, be sworn in as a judge for a day. And not only for a day, but for the sole and exclusive ability to officiate one wedding.
And was it, oh my gosh, hurry up, we need our wedding?
No,
or was
no.
it, we knew we wanted you?
No, we were drinking one day, and we joked about how I should marry them. And I was like, I think I can do that. And they got engaged, and they FaceTimed me, and asked me if I would do them the honor of officiating their
I love it.
wedding.
I'm ready. I'm perusing quickly.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
Okay.
All right.
She's already given me a little teaser on that I know my question's going to go well.
Well, so we've talked. I think we've talked about your biggest accomplishments. Do you think we've covered them?
Yeah, and I don't like the way you threw that in at the beginning. That's the first thing I thought of. Is there goes your lightning round question.
Yeah, I said career highlights as more of a biographical background. You know.
Stay focused, bud.
Jeez, Molly, calm down.
Stressing me out.
How about biggest failure?
Ooh, my biggest failure.
Or
That's a great question.
failure. What's the other word that we're using? Because people seem to have a problem with the word failure.
No,
Lesson
I don't have a problem
learned?
with it.
That's what I call failure. I call it a lesson learned. Yeah.
Gandhi.
Man. I'm not, my silence isn't to suggest I don't have any. I'm trying to.
What, you want to get back to us on that?
Yeah, let me think about that.
See, this was my biggest failure, is that I did not prep Nadine well. Usually
At
I tell the guests what
She didn't even
questions
realize
I'm
she
going
was
to
the
ask
guest today.
them. I know. She thought she was just coming here to have a
I think
scotch.
I've reflected. I think I've done okay.
You've done
great.
Yeah,
You've
man.
done great. But if you were my guest, I would have prepped you well.
I failed. All right, we'll get
I've
back.
got something, and it's not so much something. It's caring for too long what other people thought was something.
Are you thinking of a specific incident?
No, I'm not. I'm thinking of many incidents that
Interesting.
impacted decision making. Yeah, or even maybe held me back in taking bigger
And
risks than
you
I would have.
feel
preferred
that
to.
you're because I don't see that to be a problem, but you're saying it's interfering with
I'd
your
say
work.
today I don't give a shit 99% of the time
Yeah.
what people
Really?
think
Let's talk-
because
yeah.
of that was an effort. That was a conscious decision over time.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah,
Right?
but see, I come from a job where that I have to.
You've got to give a shit. Well, no,
So
everyone
that's
does.
the
If you want to be
problem.
successful in business, you've got to give a shit. But here's the thing about it. It's very easy and very possible to give too much of a shit.
Yes.
Right?
That's a better way
And
of stating
what?
balance.
Yeah. And so, all right. So let me unpack this for you for a minute. Right? Let me preach to you.
Unpack.
So on
noise,
Friday,
sound effect.
young Jacob Gertzberg and I we played hooky. Okay, and I pulled him out of school, and probably shouldn't. Maybe his teachers are listening. All right.
Put it on Facebook.
Nelly.
He was sick.
You posted it on Facebook.
I did post it on Facebook. All right,
Yeah,
they
it's
can
fine.
do whatever they want then. So we went to the bookstore over here, the Firehouse. What is it?
Fireside.
Fireside.
Right.
Yeah. And I bought a book called The Daily Stoic, which is an amazing, amazing book, right? And I started learning a lot about Stoicism, right, and Stoic philosophies. And one of the things about it is there's a whole piece of Stoicism that is involved that revolves around not giving a shit what other people think, right? And what I realized as I was sort of applying this to my own life is that most of the people that I worry about what they think of me are really not they're not really people who have earned that degree of giving a shit, right? Like the people that I care the most about giving a shit, like you guys, I care about what you think of me. My kids, I care how they think of me, right? But like I don't really stress out about what you guys think of me and what my kids think of me. I spend or have spent more time stressing out about what like people who just haven't earned that degree of attention from me, you know? And that's what this like sort of tenet of Stoic philosophy is that you probably, if you think about it, have spent more time preoccupied with the opinions of people who have not earned that place in your attention and your time. You know what I mean?
Very
your
well
psyche.
said.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if you like and I actually literally applied this. Like I made a list of all the people who in the last like 2 weeks I was worried about what they thought of me. And I was like, man, who are these people and why are they on this list?
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, I will step down from my soapbox now.
That was deep.
But that is,
Wasn't
That was
it?
deep.
yeah,
That was-
it's an important concept though. I think that
Very much
people
so.
in general, you know, worry too much about, you know, the opinions of people who haven't earned it.
Hmm.
You know?
Very good.
Anywho,
Yes.
what were we talking about?
We were on the
Like-
speed round, but I didn't feel
It's not
very
so speedy.
speedy.
It's not so speedy.
I slowed it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Deep.
Aw.
Yeah. That's the sound effect, Nellie.
Okay, and then our last two questions. Molly, would you like to go first today?
Sure.
Okay.
Tell me, if you would, or us, the listeners, about your mother. Did you have a great relationship with your mother? And I have a feeling you did because you called her beautiful, which I love.
Yes, my mother's an amazing human being. My mother,
5
pour-
for 5, folks.
Pour, yeah. We'll pour
left-
more quietly while we
yeah,
talk
it's
while
a
we
pour.
respect
No,
your
we're
mother.
supposed to- we're supposed to pour loudly.
Pour loudly.
there's a flash on
All right.
top
That's
there.
what, man.
There we go.
We
That's what
are
Molly
getting ready to
wanted.
talk about Ma Ezzie.
Yes, not to say I have to drink to talk about
You want
her.
some more?
No,
Is
that's
that enough?
perfect. She is, and I'll say this. at the
What's her
age of-
name?
Rosette.
Rosette Ezzie.
Yes. And the older I get, I realize I'm so much like her. And for whatever reason, girls grow up not wanting to be like their mothers, and then you realize you are, and then it's actually a pretty awesome thing when you realize you are.
What's her deal?
My mother is fierce, intelligent, funny, gorgeous. She left everything she knew at the ripe old age of 20 and flew across the big pond and came over here and married my dad, and I was born not long after, as were my 2 other sisters, and she spent a good portion of her life just raising us, cooking amazing Lebanese food. You know, McDonald's was a once-a-month treat. We did not realize how good we had it growing up, and just
Yeah.
was amazing and awesome. And I don't realize it until I was older. Looking back, she came here, spoke not a word of English. She would tell me stories that she would learn words while watching Captain Kangaroo with me as I was a kid, and then she would volunteer at our school for hot lunch and go with all the other mothers, and you know, they sent us to private school. My parents spent every penny sending us to private school, and so the other mothers were perhaps a little more affluent and maybe not the nicest. And she went. She had this deep accent and didn't always understand what people said, but goddamn it, she showed up every week and was there, and just is a phenomenal person.
I don't think that people in general appreciate the courage and the journey that immigrants like
No.
your mother
No.
have to undertake, right?
Right.
I mean, honestly, I was 4 when I
Mhm.
came here. You were born here, right?
Yes, I was
Yeah.
born here.
So I can't really speak from memory, but I
Do
know.
you remember a little bit what it was like growing up? Feel a little different?
Well, feeling different for sure,
Yeah.
right? So I still feel very different, but
Well, you are.
well, I know, not in a good
but
way.
not in
Not
a
a good way.
Russian way.
No, but what I know about my parents and what you know about your parents is that coming here without anything and having to rely on other people sucks, right? And losing that independence and having a total fear of the unknown. Granted, you come here with the expectation that it's got to be better than the place you're leaving, right? So you do have that sort of sense of optimism. But like today, right? If I had to go to a new country where I didn't know anybody, didn't speak the language, didn't have any money,
You have a job?
didn't have a job, yeah, and I had to just totally depend on other people, man, I would hate that.
Think
It would
about
suck.
that. Yeah.
It would suck, right? And not only did your mother do that, as a 22-year-old?
20.
20-year-old, right?
20. I
Um,
just turned
now is a very successful family, has a good family, right? Raised 3 beautiful women, right?
The best Lebanese cook in Northeast Ohio.
Yeah.
I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Anybody would like to send any complaints
I
again?
dare you.
I've already sent the email up
Complaints about what?
that their mother's better in Lebanese cooking. She just made a
No,
bold
I get you.
statement there.
That's,
But
trust me, you're gonna get a lot probably just on that one.
yeah,
The Lebanese make good food.
yeah,
I do dig the
feeling a
Lebanese
field trip to her house, or
cuisine.
Yes.
maybe she can cook for the viewing party that we're going to have, the
Ooh,
jazz
I like
singer
that.
viewing party.
Oh, there we go.
Interesting.
My private party.
You know what that would be? That would be a Peace in the Middle East party.
like
Getting
it.
the Jews
No
and
politics.
the Lebanese together.
No
yes,
politics.
that's
Oh.
exactly what that would be.
Nadine,
Hmm?
do you, this is the last question. The last important big question. So get ready. It's coming.
Drum roll.
Do you ever have limiting beliefs? And if so, how do you deal with them?
Yes, I think it's human nature
Yeah.
to have limiting beliefs. And how do I deal with them? I look back at all the other times I thought that I couldn't, and when I ultimately did.
Man, I love that.
And those times far outnumber the times that I couldn't. The times that I couldn't were the times that I perhaps didn't do anything about it. That
Yeah.
actually, that my self-limiting beliefs won out were the times that.
Do you have any specific limiting belief or example of overcoming one that you're thinking about right now? Or are you just thinking generally about them?
Man, I'm thinking generally right now. Man, I know there's so many though.
I'll tell you something while you're thinking about it. Over the weekend I read this article, Dan Sullivan, right? Who's this entrepreneurial dude. That's his
Did
official
Steve
title.
read it?
His official title is entrepreneurial dude. He's like a I don't know, strategist. Okay, and he said he wrote this great article. I don't even remember what it's called, but basically what it said was that most people have an ideal for themselves, right? And you imagine, the house that you want to live in, the person you want to be married to, the job that you want, how much money you want in your bank account, and that's an ideal, and it is an image that you'll never achieve, right? And that's not a reflection of your own limitations. That's a reflection of the fact that it's an ideal. By definition, it's just this dream image, right, that you've got for yourself that you've always had out there. If you did achieve it, you would just come up with another ideal, right? It's just the nature of the human brain. And the people who are happy in life are the people, according to this article that I read, that do not measure their reality against that ideal, but instead measure their reality and their success against all the things that they've achieved until that day, right? So there's an actual, right, which is where you are relative to all the things you've achieved. And if you think about your success in those terms, you're going to be much happier than if you think about your status in relation to an ideal. And so being able to, does this make any sense?
I'm feeling like people are going to have turned it off by now.
No.
You think so?
No.
No, I hope you don't have anything great to say past this point.
Oh.
I think we lost a
I think,
listener or
my dear
two.
friend is trying to say, and correct me if I'm wrong.
How
and this
dare
is-
you, Molly?
No, and this is
How-
how I live
you
my
You don't
life.
care what I think about you anyways. You already sure
No, now I don't. You weren't on my list, but now you are.
To Alex's point, and I try to.
Dumb it down for the
That's
listener.
exactly what I'm going to do.
Thank
'cause
you.
This is the only way I know how to do
Thank
it.
you.
For me,
Yeah.
a wise man once told me, Nadine, what do you care what other people doing and how they're living their life? That's their story. He's like, write your own story and live that. Don't compare yourself. And I just every thing that I do. It's just another chapter
Who
in the
was that
story of
wise
Nadine.
man? Out of curiosity, if you could share.
It's just a dear confidant.
Okay,
I'll
so
leave it at
someone that is
Yes,
still in
very dear
part
confidant. He
of
said,
your
I
just
think
write,
that's sound advice.
just write your own story and live that. And I said, that sounds way cooler
Yeah.
than living somebody else's story
Right.
or comparing
Uh-huh.
to somebody else's story. I'm gonna write the story of Nadine.
Right.
Hopefully, the people that
And I think that's
turned
what,
off didn't.
Yeah.
I think
Because they
no,
really
I
missed
know
a
that's
gem.
what my dear friend was saying.
Molly, my question is now tainted by your betrayal. I don't even know you anymore.
Live your own life. Live your own story. Don't worry about my story.
Nadine, we have an opening for guest host on the podcast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It just opened up right now?
It just opened
Just
up.
All right,
opened up,
Kelly.
coincidentally.
Anywho,
Oh, my
Molly,
goodness.
do you have more questions for our friend Nadine that are vastly superior to the ones that I've asked?
We got some great press on the
The essay contest?
essay contest.
We're in the
from
Chagrin Valley.
Geauga.
Oh, no?
Geauga News. Thank
Geauga
you,
News.
Geauga News. Yes.
Are we going to be in the Chagrin Valley Times?
I hope
That'll
so.
be cool.
I hope so.
Nadine, you're a
Yeah.
judge, aren't you?
I believe so. I did.
Yeah,
I volunteered. Loved doing it
Last year, you donated some money, too.
Did.
That was nice of you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nadine.
Cause that I very much believe in.
Yeah.
Do you know what the topic is this year, Nadine?
I forget.
Coming up?
I read it.
Texting and driving.
I thought that's a big
Yeah,
one.
It's a big one.
It's huge.
It's a big one. And what I love about it this upcoming year is that we went a little further because there are things in place to control that. There's legislation, there's apps on
Mhm.
cars
Mhm.
and phones, but yet even with all of that, there's still an issue. And I love that they're really gonna
Yeah.
have to,
Dig deep.
yeah, don't give us an app, cause that's already
Right.
here. We already got that and people still aren't paying
Right.
attention, me included.
I mean, which isn't to discourage them from giving us an app. It's just that if that's all you're going
Yes.
to give us, you're probably not going to win the
Right,
contest.
right.
Right.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, where should, let's say I'm just some random listener, but I want to learn more about this
Yes.
awesome essay contest, Molly. Where do you think?
Plenty of places
Where would
to
I go?
Well, you go to the GertzbergLawFirm.com, I hope.
Yes, that's true.
And
/ essay?
Yeah, well, you don't even have to do that.
No,
That's
there's a
what's so
link
great
there,
about
that's
it.
right.
Right on the right-hand side, there's
That's
this
right.
little
Can't miss
tab
it.
that's so cool.
It's right there.
You don't have to search for it. I mean, it's literally right on the top
Right.
page. And you can go to Facebook, the We Solve Problems Essay Contest, and
Right.
like us there, and we'll share all the latest, all the news.
Right.
I just posted today links of where you can go sponsor, where you can go donate.
We are looking for both.
We are
Lots
looking for
of
both.
them.
Yeah, I think
Judges.
maybe
Well, I
at-
guess sponsoring and donating is the same thing. We're looking for sponsors and judges. So Nadine,
Folks,
tell
you need to be a part of this. This
Thank
is
you.
it takes a lot to hook me into something, and this is a really special thing. Seriously. So,
It didn't take a lot of your time, did it?
No.
you read a
read
couple
5?
essays, felt
no,
good about yourself.
I read.
She's an
I read 10.
overachiever. She's an overachiever. I
She
love
likes
that.
reading
I love that.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Natalie Ezzie read 5 of my 10.
Is that true?
Yes.
That's allowed.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
She's
I
cool.
don't think it's allowed, but I figured.
Who's Natalie?
My sister
That's
who
her.
lives with me.
Okay,
Yeah.
She's
Excellent.
awesome too.
She's awesome.
excellent.
Yes.
Well,
Uh,
now we should just get both of them to be judges.
Yeah.
She helped me read some of them, and
Nadine,
was,
are you working on anything that you would like to tell the kids at home about?
gosh, I'm working on so many things right now. You know, we're just working on changing the landscape of Cleveland, Ohio, folks.
Nice.
Yeah.
We could talk about
Very
Andy's canopy.
Oh wow, we could.
Let's do that.
Oh.
Is his
he-
website up yet?
He's got a Facebook page up.
All right.
Andy?
I'm late for dinner. It's my boyfriend. So
Okay.
He's a
This will
good
make
dude,
up
man.
for it. This will make up
Okay.
for it.
Oh yeah, let's put in a plug
yeah,
for the
this will
gutter
make
pee.
up for it.
What
Yes.
is it?
So my boyfriend Andy, when he used to live in Washington D.C., had this great little business called Tailgate Cruiser, right? And you could rent everything you'd need for a tailgate, right? It came in this
I
little
love
big cooler on wheels, right? But you would open it,
Right.
and inside was a grill and a couple fold-up chairs and everything you needed. You would just pull it
I
out.
love it.
Because Molly,
Right.
how often
I
do you just want
love
an
it.
impromptu tailgate scene?
Well,
Right?
the chamber
You know what I
just
mean? Or if you're
hosted
from
a
out of town.
tailgate the other
That's
Right,
day.
if you're from
all
out
the
of
time.
town,
Yeah.
right? So you would just
Right.
he would meet you wherever you were, and everything you needed was right there. What he learned was that the tents, right? If it rained a lot, if it was very windy, they would just collapse. He's like, man, there's got to be something I can do about this. So he has created a tent with a built-in gutter system.
Patent pending.
Patent pending.
Yeah.
With the legal assistance, I think of the Gertzberg Law Firm.
Well,
and
some
others, yes.
Some others, sure. We were part of a
And
team.
it's called what?
Gutter P.
That's gutter plus canopy.
Yes,
Gutter
get
P.
it? And,
I
and
got
it's,
it.
It's a fantastic tent, and we're in the midst of building a Kickstarter campaign. And it is seriously one of the most durable tents I've ever seen.
Different than pea gutter?
Not to be
Not even
confused
remotely
with pea
close?
gutter. I don't even.
Yeah,
no one
I
really
know
knows
what
what that
you're
means.
looking at right now.
But the gutter pea.
The gutter, there's a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so could you
Facebook.
spell it for me? Cause
Gutterpy.
Yeah.
There's the problem.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So
Not P-E.
Look at you, Molly.
Look.
Molly, get your mind out of the gutter pea.
get it? That's
And
so
it-
funny. We were actually like playing with words.
And a Twitter.
And Twitter.
I'm liking it right now,
Liking it,
folks.
right?
I am.
It is a pretty amazing invention, I
Folks.
will say this.
Go to Facebook, Gutterpy, like it. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
right? You've seen it,
Yeah,
Alex.
it's awesome.
It's really pretty ingenious.
I'm going to tell you right now, Nadine, Ezzie, I think that it is going to make a big splash.
That's so lame. I love it.
No,
And wait,
honestly.
There's a hamburger. There's grilling advice on here and different games.
Isn't it a pretty great?
It's a great little different tailgate recipes.
Actually, I'm gonna give. You think it's okay if I give a plug for the branding company who's
Sure.
using to help him out? You think that's allowed?
You know what? We own this podcast. You can do
It's
whatever you
permitted.
want.
Shout out
Yes.
to Hey Now Media, Beechwood, Ohio, who's behind
Hey
all.
now.
Hey Now Media is behind
Does
all
Howard Stern know that they use that phrase for their company?
I know.
Hey Now Media.
I haven't listened
He
to
might now, because Howard
for a long
Stern
time,
is
dude.
definitely listening to this podcast.
You think so?
No.
No.